guys, welcome to week 28's reading. We're still in Psalms, and I could be wrong, but I didn't see a lot of hard question material for this week. So if you have some hard questions, feel free to email my mom. But my basic observations this week are going to come out of Psalm 115. This is a pretty important psalm. It talks about how, these people, they have idols. They have eyes, but they don't see, ears, but they don't hear, mouths, but they don't speak, hands, they don't touch, they don't move, they're useless. And one of the things that I want to bring out just in this is the observation that the Israelites were the first and only clear thinkers about images in their day, and really for a long time afterwards. And this is something that we see over and over again through the Bible. I'm going to give you a few references here. You have here in Psalm 115, you have Psalm 135, you have Isaiah 41:7, Isaiah 40:19, 44:12 through 15, 46:6 through 7, and then Jeremiah 10:3 through 9. So you're free to look those up. What we see there is a really stark picture of what idols actually are and what idolatry actually is. And I think the Bible gets very sarcastic about what idols are. And they talk about how, a craftsman, he goes and he gets a piece of wood and he uses half of it to make his food and he uses half of it to build an idol. And then he carves it and then he covers it with stuff to make it pretty. And then he has to nail it down so it won't fall over. And you just see that Israel has such clear thinking about what idolatry is. And just for what does this mean for us? I wish we all had such clear thinking about what idolatry is in our own lives. This thing that I'm depending on, this thing that interests me, it's just a thing that would topple over. It can't hold itself up, much less hold me up. And so that's just something that we see there. And I think it would be just interesting just to look up each one of those references and just talk about what's a characteristic of an idol. What does that look like? And why does Israel have such a clear view of this? Israel has such a clear view of this because they have the only living God. They've actually been around him. They've seen idols fall over in front of God's ark. Dagon fell over and his head and his hands fell off. They see just that their living God has been able to do so many things, and he's been so powerful for them. And so this is one of the things that you're going to see over and over again. Fear me, fear the living God. Don't fear other gods. They can't help you. And then Israel, even in the middle of such clarity, over and over again goes and fears other gods and forsakes the living God. And so just think about this, how revolutionary would this be for you? If you personally had grown up with family idols, or if you had grown up with cultural idols, or come from a culture where idols are openly worshipped, how revolutionary would it be to just think clearly about how was this thing made and what is this thing actually worth? So that's one observation. A second observation comes from 115 verse 17, Psalm 115:17. And there's just this verse. It says, "The dead do not praise the Lord, nor any who go down into silence." There are some other verses that are similar to this, like Psalm 6:5. It says, "For in death there is no remembrance of you. In the grave, who will give you thanks?" And we see this kind of thing several times. We see it a bit in Ecclesiastes. What's going on there? Is the Bible contradicting itself about the resurrection? Is it contradicting itself about the grave? Because there are people who have said that in the Bible you see a very hazy view of the afterlife, and that any psalms or any references to the afterlife that are clear or similar to what we understand were added afterwards. And so I just want to say, no, that's not the case. What's going on here, much more likely, is that this author is speaking poetically and literally of the things that he can actually observe. So the dead don't praise the Lord, nor anyone who goes down into silence. They're dead. They're in the ground. They're no longer talking. They're no longer praising. They are silent. It's the same way we talk about the sun coming up and the sun going down. Does the sun do that? Obviously, it does not. But our observation of it is that it does. And so what we're seeing here is we're seeing this is not a figurative silence as in annihilation of the souls that have died. This is the silence of the grave where people don't talk anymore. And you actually see a lot of references in the scriptures to the resurrection that actually happen, and they're very clear. And so you see In Job talks about how he's going to see God in his flesh even after his sin is destroyed. That's from the time of the patriarchs. That's Job 19:26. He says that he's going to respond when God calls to him when he's already died. He'll respond to God. That's in Job 9:13 through 15. Psalm 22:29 actually says, all those who go down to the dust shall bow before him. And so these are dead people that are going to bow before him, that are going to bow before the Lord. And so most likely what we see in statements like Psalm 115:17, we're just seeing authors talk about what they can actually observe in their world rather than making a statement about what the afterlife looks like. So I hope that's helpful. Hope that's useful for you as you continue to think about these things, and we'll see you next week.